Oh, just look at this! Look at this! What is this? What's up guys, Pidget here. Self-cast Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction Poison Pathfinder is maybe the most broken build I ever played. Many people know Detonate Dead broken and Poison is super strong. Put together and add Pathfinder to the mix and you will get tonkiness to the build. Right now we're dealing almost 30 million damage, but I don't think this is accurate because we can have many Detonate Dead going on at the same time. But the damage is speaking for itself. Even on tier 17 maps, the damage is just melts anything that has a life bar above his head. On Ubers the damage is also very high, but if the target teleporting too much, then you can have a hard time. Don't get me wrong, you will complete the encounter pretty easily, just annoying deal with the teleporting bosses. I've done pretty much every Uber with this and of course all tier 17 maps as well, so the build is very strong. You know me, the tonkiness can be less than tonk Uber bosses, and now with the addition tier 17 mobs, I need to make a build that can deal with both of them. Yesterday on stream I fixed many problems that related to this and got pretty huge results. Sadly, right now I have a little bit low health to tank the Uber Sirius Meteor. I mean, if the game rolls 100% damage range on the Meteor, you will die. To this happen, you have 1% chance. You know my luck, this was the case that happened. I low rolled that percent chance 2 times in a row, but after I was able to tank back to back. At least you guys now are seeing how I'm making the build and the steps behind it. And of course how many times I fail before I get the good results. While I was working on this build, I encountered a few problems. The first problem was how the earth I will keep up my desecrate and detonate that going at the same time while also keeping up the curses on the bosses. The short answer, I can. I tried many times on Maven or other stationary targets, but the damage was not even close to what I'm seeing in the POB. So I instantly started blaming myself. I can't keep up the rotation even after practicing many hours. Even many viewers started calling me ZDPS build, so I had to change something. This was the point when the god gamer himself granted the wisdom. From last league, I'm talking about Ben. He was playing as Inquisitor and he was using Arcanist Band to keep up the desecrate. So this was the answer. But this is when new problems was started. You can't have 2 different bands attached to the enemy if you don't have to allocate the rune binder keystone, so the build was clunky to play. Because you have to wait a little till your brand applies the curses, then use other brand to get desecrate going on. There is no way anyone would enjoy that. Then I remember from last league when I was playing the balance brand of dissipation build. I was using a curse on hit gloves. I was, maybe if I get a gloves like that, then I can drop the Arcanist Brand curse setup and self-curse the Despair by myself. This was the answer. But of course every solution comes with a new problem. The new problem was not mechanical, it was currency problem. Because these gloves that I'm using is the Volcore gloves with the mod fire damage can poison. So I need the gloves with that and temporal chain on hit. Because the normal temporal chain doesn't care about the levels or anything. Because the curse on hit on the gloves is level 1 without quality. Quickly check the price of this bad boy. And that time was only 2 available on the market. 20 divine and 1 for 40 divine. And I was, okay, let's get the corruption by myself. Well, after I failed I think 20 times, I give up and going back to the clear setup, which I will tell in a second. Hours went by and a few people called me again ZDPS. They was memeing 100%. But I take that personally. So I jump on the trade site and search for the gloves with the right corruption. And I see 1 gloves for 1 divine. Immediately bought it. After this, the build was fixed. Because no more I needed to self-copy the desecration. The next problem was I wanted to push even higher the damage. But for this, I needed to get a new item. I mean, I bought a new amulet for 100 chaos. It fixed the damage because now I have more cost speed. Because the cost speed for this build is very important. More cost speed, more desecrate and more detonate that going on. When I equipped the amulet, my energy shield got lower levels. So my divine blessing setup was not working. So I needed to get more energy shield, but the question is how? This is when the other god gamer granted me wisdom. I'm talking about Jungroan. He was releasing a video about his custom crit Detonate that character, and he was using a pretty cool tech, and that's the impossible escape jewel around the pay attunement keystone and allocating the melding node table. This is solved my energy shield problems pretty easily. The jewel was 1.5 divine, which is pretty good price if you play this build. So I put together the 2 tech and undead mine to the mix. All of this fixed the build and made it so much better. I'm talking about the clear earlier. This build would be very painful to play if you want just mapping, so I needed to come up a good solution that is easy to do and have enough damage to clear. So the clear setup is cast while channeling Desecrate and Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction, and our trigger skill is Cyclone. I think this setup is super good and comfortable to run. Yesterday I was carrying 4-man group while we was leveling up with the Shrine tech. So I think the build, even with the clear setup, has enough damage to just deal with the map bosses and tougher rares. Even Conquerors is not a problem, you just spinning around till you complete the map. So if you have some sort of problem with your wrist, you can just play this version comfortable. Tier 17 maps just melts with the signal target setup. So the Tier 17 maps is a cakewalk, and I didn't have a hard time like the other builds. Of course you need to avoid a few modifiers, but most of them runnable. You can even run extra crit maps as well, because you just allocate the poison mastery so the enemies will not deal extra damage on you. Other things like Maven assisting the enemies is not noticeable because you just upgraded the Pantheon for it, and it will disable almost the regen that Maven gives to the enemy. The mods we can't run is the less recovery rate, avoid poison, and less curse effectiveness. All of them is very clever why we can do it. So just avoid these mods. The recovery from the flask is just insane. We getting 4k plus recovery alone from the flask. This is up all the time because you can just spam the flask and it will sustain even with that much spam. Overall the build is super strong and I'm pretty happy about how it turned out. The damage and the tonkiness is just insane. The whole build is a big puzzle and I had a very good time to put together as the whole. This is not a guide or anything, just a thoughts video how the build was made and how the progression was in the last few days. The guide will come in the following days because I will cover everything related to this build, even the leveling and the crafting, just like in my Molten Strike Trickster. I hope you enjoyed this video about Poison, Detonate, Dead of Chain Reaction, Pathfinder. If you have any question, please leave a comment below, or you can find me on twitch.tv/Peugeot2. Also, I would like to say thank you for my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks again guys. Thanks for watching, I was Peugeot, see you next time.